course, I'm home, but.
Well, hey, everybody. This is Don with Eric Tenkar to my right or left. With us is Kip Shelton, and this is the vlog of many things. Kip, thanks for getting your camera issues unscrewed up.
Don't worry, I was having my issues beforehand, so.
Yeah, 2 cameras and a different computer later.
Yeah, we all have our issues. This is new for us. Just let everybody know they're watching us. I did switch to Restream from StreamYard because, as Eric pointed out in a video, StreamYard decided that they were going to hamstring everybody, and they were charging me like $90 a month.
Yeah.
And I can get it for a tenth of that here. So you know what?
Right.
We shall work through this. So Kip, thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad to do it. I'm looking forward to this.
It's not painless at all.
No, not so far.
So just to kind of hop in, for those who don't know, Kip is the owner of AC0, correct?
Yes.
AC0 Games. You were on Tom Veralt's from Tabletop Tap Rooms live a couple days ago.
Yes.
And I invited you on here because we chatted a little bit, I think, early on about one of your modules. And I want to kind of get into all that, talk about what you do, talk about the ideas, talk about the OGL. You got some screen grabs you sent me, and all that good stuff. So
great.
Awesome. So first, we'll just start off. Tell us a little bit about your game company.
Well, the company is AC0. As a D&D player from back in the dinosaur days, that came from to hit armor class 0. And so I thought, what better way to pay homage to the original games that I started with was to call the company AC0. I also saw a kind of a renaissance to people that wanted to play the original first edition.
Mm-hmm.
And since that was what I grew up with, I wasn't really a 5th edition player. I didn't go into all of the new editions. And as a matter of fact, I never crawled my way out of 3rd edition.
Gotcha.
And so I started AC0, put together some friends, and we built a website around 1st edition.
Mm-hmm.
And we started creating. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, we started building some modules to just give away because we just love RPGs so much. We just wanted to give away everything that we did. And people were saying, well, why don't you monetize? Well, if we're going to monetize, we're going to do it with dice and things like that.
Gotcha.
And so what we're doing is we're just making the modules. What we're trying to do is create a quality of these things that people will, you can download them as a PDF, but if you want them printed, we do print them at high quality and we'll send them out to you. The only thing we ask you do is that you pay for the printing and pay for the shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing. As a matter of fact, this is one of our modules right here. And as you can see, glossy cover, and it's got all the, glossy pages, everything else. It's a nice module.
Mm-hmm.
And, we give them away as a PDF online, but just if you want them, we'll ship them to you.
Gotcha.
For D&D, we've created an entire new world. We've created a place called Barsalis. New lands, new monsters, new everything.
Gotcha.
So we decided to do that. But I loved Star Frontiers. And that
Tom is really into it. Matter of fact, Tom's getting in here now. He's a little late. So Tom, thanks for being late.
Hey, Kip.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, my fellow
Frontiersmen?
YouTubers.
Now, I find it really interesting that now basically what you do with your modules is, and you held up a module, and I want to share a screen here real quick. Because I think what you did here was, and excuse me for being a little bit rusty here because I am a little rusty. Let's do this. Let's see how that works. There we go. I'll have my head inside the chat. Who cares? Now, this is Nightfall, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now is that something that's currently out right now?
Yes.
No, that was what you just showed, correct?
Right. If
Okay.
you go to AC0 right now, you can download that.
Gotcha. And what's the basis of this, if you don't mind?
Because it's a brand new land, there has been a war in the land of Barsalis. And there is a kind of like a vampire family. But these are not the ordinary vampires that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the land, they are gathering armies.
Gotcha.
And Nightfall just happens to be a town on the way to this bigger adventure.
Gotcha.
So this is only part 1 in the adventure.
Okay, so basically everything is going to be contained inside your own world, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But what we decided to do, and here's something interesting. Barsalis is so big, the land that we created is so big that we decided to open it up to people to say, hey, if you want to create part of this land, the continents are named, the kingdoms are named. But if you want to create your own dungeon or your own monsters or your own area, we have it sectioned off like the Oklahoma land run. You can claim this area and you can build it, and we'll shout it to the world. This is so-and-so's piece of property. They designed it. They developed it. This is theirs. And this is what they created. The only thing we ask is that you make that available to everyone. There's no monetizing it, is that it's for everyone.
Gotcha. So in your combined world, somebody can say, I want to go ahead and have my own area. You give them their own area. And as long as they don't monetize it, they keep it for free, they can go ahead and provide content for that.
Yes.
Now, do they maintain the rights to that content, or does that content automatically fall within the spectrum or realm of your world and your company?
The land itself, we own it. Any content they create, like if they create new monsters and things like that, all theirs. They create all of that. The land is still ours.
Gotcha.
Right.
Makes sense.
So, this is the same idea I remember seeing Baen, BAEN.com, publishers, sci-fi fantasy novels. And one of the things they started doing was they would just give a book away. We got a really popular author. We're going to give his book away virtually. And I walked into a Barnes and Nobles and saw a On Basilisk Station for $1.99. This is when back in the 90s and novels would sell for $5-6. And so I bought that one. And 2 days later, I was back in Barnes and Noble buying 7 more novels because I loved the story. I became addicted to David Weber on a $2 because I was just there to kill a half an hour before sales call. So I got a cup of coffee. I figured I'd read something, put it back on the shelf. And I said, for $2, hell no, it's going out the door with me. This is a good story. And like I said, 2 days later, I'm buying 7 more novels. And, and then I'm buying copies of the first novel and giving them away to family and friends. Like, here's your free hit of crack cocaine.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
Well, for this, we're not planning on charging for any of the content. And, like we said, we haven't even figured out how we want to do dice yet, how we want to sell it. As a matter of fact, you'll find this funny. We've got bags of dice that we haven't even decided what we're going to do with yet.
Gotcha.
So that's where we are with it.
Well, let me give you a little tip, Kip.
Tip, Kip?
Yeah. Little alliteration there. You should do up some really nice sci-fi D10s, because I think the Star Frontiers community would probably.
Well, you know, there is a company that contacted me yesterday that does custom dice and asked me if I would be interested in doing a collab.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So doing a bunch of custom D10s. They have a new series of blue metallic D10s.
Oh.
So that might be, you know.
You see what Kip doesn't realize here? You see, me and Kip, I already like the guy. And I'm going to tell you the reason I already like this guy. Because I'm looking right now in his background. I see a Death Trooper helmet. I also see on the first shelf of your shelf back there, that is a 1978 original Star Wars original 12-figure display.
That is actually the remake 6-inch version.
Oh, it's the remake, is it?
Yeah. Oh, give me 1 second. I'll show you.
Uh-oh. We're going down a rabbit hole now, guys.
Uh-oh. No rabbit hole. We love rabbit holes.
I was about to say, this is the vlog of many things.
What size was the Han Solo and Carbonite you just delivered, Don?
I haven't delivered it yet. It's life size. The guy keeps putting me off.
See, the first shelf is the 6-inch duplicate with the background. The second shelf is actually a bar of all of the bad guys plus the crew from Rebels.
Yeah, I make Star Wars props.
Ah, well, that was one of the things I used to make, not Star Wars specifically, but I used to make props too when I worked in motion picture.
Oh, I got to talk to you and send you some photos. And when we're done, I'll send you some stuff on Facebook.
That's the kind of stuff I love. I love building props, and that's kind of my relaxing thing when your head's just too full. It's busy work.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing that fascinates me, and you know, what fascinates me as a publisher, because I own a company called Wizard Tower Games.
Okay.
And me and Tom have talked about doing a Star Frontiers reboot, because needless to say, my compatriot down in the corner there is a little bit of a Star Frontiers freak. And I use the term freak in a loving sense.
So do I.
Because Tom does like his Star Frontiers.
Yes.
Just a little, like right next to me.
The good wife is present, by the way.
Sorry.
She's going to chime in.
So the thing that really kind of made me attracted to this is when I saw your Star Frontiers module.
Ah, okay.
And when we got online, I started talking to you about the use of the name Star Frontiers and talking about the OGL and such. And that's kind of something that I, as a publisher, like to kind of get into with you, is about the use of, like, as an example, because not trying to bring it up, but there is a certain 3-digit company named out there who is litigating right now. It is still litigating, and they are now selling off more and more assets. It was announced, a couple days ago, guys?
Yeah.
I believe they're selling a museum or something. Or
they're dumping a museum now.
It's a bargain, just under $1 million.
Just under $1 million.
It's a resurrection of the satanic panic to save the OSR is what it is.
Yeah. So, and the thing is that got him in trouble was the use of trademarked items. Now, when I talked to you, you mentioned that this falls under the OGL. How does that work with you? I'm really curious about that.
Well, here's the thing. I read through the OGL.
Mm-hmm.
And the OGL doesn't specifically say Dungeons and Dragons. So when they talk about original property and they mention times and dates, that kind of leaves it open to interpretation. So what we did was, if they want to send a cease and desist, we have created an alternate title.
Yeah. In fact, here, let me real quickly share screen again. And what we can do here is, again, I apologize. This is new to me. I'll get used to it. We'll get right on in it. You know what I mean?
Not a problem.
And that is this right here. And that is the original module. And then you said you have an alternate, and this is the alternate border space.
Border space, correct.
Gotcha. All right. Just wanted to kind of.
I have a theory that you're going to be using border space, and I'll tell you why. It's correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a little bit more than a hot minute since I've read the OGL, but I do believe that the OGL, the language in there specifically says if you use the OGL, you can't use D&D identity. There was 10 creatures. You couldn't say that it was compatible with Dungeons & Dragons. You had to say it was compatible with the world's greatest role-playing game. All these different things.
Right.
I think you're probably going to get a cease and desist, and then you'll just switch over. I mean, I'm not going to want to waste money suing you. I mean, you're not making any money.
No, but this is interesting. As Tom knows, I had my attorney reach out to licensing because we were dealing with licensing, and we're still dealing with licensing on a project with Wizards of the Coast. And we've been trying to get clarification because we want to do a Star Frontiers style reboot, game that not modules. We want to kind of get more into a core redo of the game. And of all things, finally today they clarified. And what's interesting now is they said that basically the OGL does not fall under any of the legacy products. Star Frontiers, Gamma World, any of that. What it does, it falls under their fan content policy of all things, which is really weird. But what's the nice thing about the fan content policy is that it actually clarifies what you can use and you can't. So I'll send you a link to that when we're done the video.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to read that.
Because this is the thing that they bite you on, is that you can use in the fan content, you can say Star Frontiers. You can use Star Frontiers.
Yeah.
But if you sell it, if you give it away, if you do anything, even if it is, sorry, I was out of chat here. If you sell it, no matter how you sell it, you can't sell it at all.
Right.
So that's why I think that I think it'd be smart to go ahead and definitely
swap it
probably
out.
Use the alternate.
That's what's so frustrating is
it is.
We've you and I both carefully read the OGL one night.
Absolutely.
And we thought, and then your lawyer came back and said, yeah, you guys are spot on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if we, it's rules that they can't copyright. So if we are mimicking the rules and doing a Star Frontiers adjacent setting, that's one thing. We could sell it. We just can't call it Star Frontiers. We can't use Sathar. We can't use the Azarians.
Yeah.
I think because there's been enough blob aliens out there, we could use a blob-like alien.
Yeah, I think that's the whole trick to it. Is I think and the thing is whether you like it or not, they own it.
Right.
And I really find it silly that they're telling game companies, small game companies like us, that we cannot use legacy product, and they're not doing jack with the legacy product.
No,
they're not rebooting it. They're not doing nothing. They're just selling it to keep their trademarks active. But real quick question. D. Anthony Redford asks, he says, do you plan for getting your company name out to any gaming conventions?
I do. And the problem is we are so small. We're 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have, not myself, but because most of the rest of them have what is considered real jobs, working is, when we can get to it.
Yeah.
And so trying to get out to these conventions can be a little difficult. So
you're in California, right?
And I'm in California. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, a lot of the game conventions are happening out on the East Coast.
Right.
Eric, I don't think I can hear you.
No. Me and Tom are both wondering about why our phones are going off. And I knew what's going on because I can see his name popping up, and I don't know who butt dialed. So that's all I'm saying.
So that's. But one of the things that we had thought about doing, when we went to our first convention, was one of the creatures we created for this module was the Jackaratus. and you've probably seen the posting that we did for it. We had talked about having some custom miniatures of the Jackaratus made.
Oh,
And
Those
we could actually sell those.
Yeah.
And because, there is no claim to those. So, but one of the things that we've made sure that we've done, that there's only one or two places within the module that we're going to have to pull out, such as a Yazirian and a Vrusk. We'll pull them out, but we'll have the module pretty much where it's up to the person to decide what things are in it, leaving the game master to make that decision.
well, you're making DMs actually have to do their job.
Yeah, well, we already gave them a break by adding all of the voices. I don't know if you heard Tom and I discussing that, but we added the voices.
Tom and I had a conversation about that.
Yeah, I actually find the QR code use fascinating because we actually did it in a board game.
Ah,
So that we did with Tim Cask is we added QR codes to all the cards. You can hear Tim read them. So the use of QR code technology inside the module is actually something really fascinating. Wow.
I like the idea of I can have a QR code and the game's going along, and now I've got a player handout that I want to disperse. I just slap the QR code on the table. One person, remember back in the day, one person was the mapper in a group,
right?
Well, one person will be the technology person with their phone, and they'll scan the QR code, and it'll bring up a short little YouTube animation video, or it'll bring up a PDF, and there's the player's handout. Bing. And while the players are going over it, I've got a chance to now take a breath and read ahead a little bit and make sure I'm ready for the next thing. And I'm like, this is a great idea. We're totally stealing what this guy's doing.
Well, there's so many, like when you get hired to do the job in this module, I don't know if you can hear this, but
greetings, troubleshooter.
Yes.
As you know, we've managed to get our proverbial tit caught in the ringer with the Singularity Ballet. Excuse my harshness, but I'm too damn old to go around mixing words. One of our deep space probes found her floating in the silent abyss 2 days ago. We need to know what happened. So here's what we're offering. We'll pay you 10.
Yeah. And
so you get the idea.
Electronic voice.
I bet we could actually find some people who are half decent voice actors too.
Well, that's the thing. I used to do audiobooks, and I have an entire crew that does them. So when I've got here's a robot for you.
To use the memory encoder, position it against your forehead. A brief electrical charge will adhere it to your skin, allowing for rapid data transfer to your hippocampus.
So we have so many voices that the GM will no longer have to make up a zillion voices.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we added, if the GM is reading this himself in a PDF format, just click the link right there within the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
You won't even have to have a QR code. Now, the QR code is for the players, not for the GM. The GM just has a clickable link right there that'll pull it up.
Yeah, and what's nice is David Thompson just said phones are banned at his table. However, the DM then still could play that for the players.
Right.
So there's a solution to that. And by the way, to your problem with you mentioned making figures.
Right.
I'll send you a couple links to a couple people that we deal with that do figure 3D modeling and do figure making for you if you want.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Glad to help you out.
I have another solution for you for that Yazirian and that Vrusk you got to pull out of the module to make it, if you get the C&D from Wizards, is the early Star Frontiersmen had some of the better player character races that were created by fans, I think. like the Vim in particular. Although I feel like they didn't go far enough. They didn't like create a backstory for how the Vim came about. I've kind of done that a little bit and played at writing an adventure, Vim Dawn type of thing where they,
Right.
Sort of thing. So there's some not bad player character races in the early Star Frontiersmen. Some I like, some I don't like. I don't like anything that's usually a anthropomorphic animal, except the Vim are a anthropomorphic rat. So my hypocrisy knows no bounds. But I really like the Vim.
Well, you know what? That is a great idea. I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
So I have been, I had someone today, and let me get his name here. David Holderness. Are you familiar with David?
Mm-mm.
He's one of my proofreaders. And we created a ship specifically for the module that's called the Neutron Coyote. And it is a very unique ship. And in the module, it is supposed to be an experimental ship.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's a ship guy, I sent it off to him. And I asked him his opinion. And he came back with, you need to send it to Tom, because I don't think it's very Star Frontiers, but I'm one of those guys that likes them to go up, take forever to get up to speed. And then I like the decks, the way they're balanced. And I like them coming out of FTL and slowing down the way they do. And this particular ship has a 2-part hull that spins to generate gravity.
Okay. That's still compatible with Star Frontiers.
Yeah.
So, but there's a few things. So, Tom, if you wouldn't mind looking at it, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Actually, I can recommend another Star Frontiers fan who's written a lot of content in the magazines. Richard Rose, aka Shadow Shack, great guy. Been living out west, just moved to Florida. He really is a nuts and bolts on the Starship kind of guy, and so I would be like, I like this dude, but what do you think? Type of thing is what I would do with him.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Richard is one of my favorite friends that I've only known through the internet. He's a great guy.
And another thing I've been getting some grief over is I've had a few people that don't like the fact that we use both standard art and AI art.
Well, I don't either, but I'm not crucifying you over it.
But the thing is AI is taking a huge hit. And the reason why AI art in general in the gaming groups, there's gaming groups that are dedicated to it, that they love it.
Right.
Yeah. And there's gaming groups that are dedicated that they hate it. I think the reason why you get grief about it is, the problem with AI with a lot of game publishers is that as a game publisher, when someone presents me with AI art for use in a product that they want to use, one of the problems that I have is because there's several lawsuits happening right now against Midjourney and other places, is that they've been outed as in their, for lack of a better word, their libraries, their database libraries of imagery. They have been outed by going, and there's been an employee that was working with Midjourney that literally said, and he gave the list of all the artists that he was told to go fish. So, and so when you use AI art, depending on where you go from, I'm sure there's ethical AI art out there. I'm not saying you don't use it. I'm just saying that the problem that a lot of people have is that, and I'm friends with a lot of artists like Jim Wampler and Charles Urbach, and they are very anti-AI because you can literally go in there and type in, and I'll pick on Jim Wampler. He may be in chat right now. Is I can go in there and say, type in a magic user in the comic style of Jim Wampler, and it'll create a cartoon drawn mage that looks real close to Marvin the Mage, which is his property. And my question is, how would AI know to do that?
Unless it had true. Now,
For me, the big argument on AI is that AI music, when they're putting stuff in the training data, they are extremely scrupulous to avoid anything copyrighted. Why?
Yeah.
Correct.
Because the big music producers that have all these copyrights, they have proved themselves to be litigious. They know they'll be sued.
And
Right.
they win.
They'll be
And
sued
that's
by
it.
Sony, by whoever, big
Yep.
deep pockets, big time lawyers. It would be stupid for them to do anything else. So the fact that they're scrupulous to exclude anything copyrighted for AI music, but at the same time they're going, screw these starving artists. We'll just take their stuff and let them try to sue us. They don't have the deep pocket. To me, that's hypocritical, and it just shows that it's wrong. And so we've been blessed at the magazine that we have artists in England and in the States who have supported us. And so I know that they're against it, so I've just taken a stand. And when I took a stand, you know what? I had more art than I could ever do. Why would I? But you know what? If you like AI art, you're not going to be offended that I don't put any AI art in the magazine.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'm not.
Go read the
Go ahead.
magazine.
Let me give you my oddball position on this.
Sure.
With such a small company
Mhm.
and looking at it from an ethical standpoint, I did my research. Photoshop, the AI that we use, supposedly ethically sources all of their stuff.
Yeah, that's Adobe.
Yeah.
Adobe has said that their image databases are ethically made.
And when we do our artwork, and like I've said, we start with a sketch or a drawing, and then we put it into Adobe's AI, or we go with the sketch. But when we put it into Adobe's AI, I had a comment today that said, your AI is crap. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If you just keep using the same AI crap, it's going to look like crap. And my thought process was, okay, I'm in a catch-22 here, because either my AI you think looks like garbage, or I try and find artists in California that will work for what a company that has 8 people can afford to do. Good luck with that when our fast food workers are making $20 an hour.
Well, that's the danger of being a small company.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Art along with editing is a huge part of your expenditure when you're doing a project.
Right.
But also, I'm not the type of game company that thinks that everything I have is secret.
Right.
I'll throw at you when we're done here. I'll send you an email. I'll ask for your email and PM. Send it to me.
Yeah, sure.
I'll send you a list along with links of a lot of artists who will do custom imagery real reasonable, and all along with that have stock art libraries that are really good stock art libraries. So it's just an area for you to look at. I'm happy to help you out.
And
I appreciate that.
I looked at your offer. When we talked, you put out an offer like, "Hey, you got material. You want to publish a module? I've got material, and I could throw material at you. But one of my stipulations would be like no AI art, just because I've taken a stand, and I've been supporting artists. So for me, I would have to be like, all right, dude, we can't do any AI art. We got to do all."
Well,
but
that's
only so that I don't look like a hypocrite.
right.
Even though my
I get that.
even though my hypocrisy knows no bounds.
But there's another half of the whole AI argument that this is the reason why a lot of publishers shy away from it. It's because just like what my attorney told me, is that think of it this way. Let's say you use AI art. It's great. Beautiful looking stuff, and you're using it. If these artists win against Midjourney and companies like that, that potentially could suck in places like Adobe, because let's face it, is Adobe telling the truth that they have ethically sourced AI? Not like a big company would lie. So what happens is suddenly they get, multi-billion-dollar massive awards for all these artists. So what's going to happen is you're going to have all of these companies, these law firms are going to go out and they're going to start fishing. And
Ambulance.
they're going to go to all these. They're going to hit all these small game companies, and they're not going to care how small you are, and such. And so I think that's a big reason why a lot of game companies go, well, you know what? Until it's
I think he's safe because he's giving stuff away.
well, no, because usage is usage under trademark and copyright violation.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can't go in and use the Adobe logo on my product, even if I give it away for free.
True.
Right. But the only thing that would keep me safe is the where I got it. They would have to go after Adobe first.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, so I guess, I think part of the thinking though is why be on the food chain, even if you're going to be low on the food chain,
Right.
in litigation, because, it's like the music thing. I mean, the reason why these companies don't use music is because, like Tom said, Sony, they are known and they always win,
Deep pockets. Deep pockets.
Yeah.
Kim Winston says, correct. No commercial application is required for intellectual property claims. Yes.
Oh.
Kim Winston's from New Zealand, I believe, but Kim is in training right now to be an attorney. He really knows his shit, and he's really up on this type of stuff.
Yeah. Kim Winston's somebody I've been bouncing idea. I go to him and say, "Hey, dude, can you boil this legalese speak down for me?" He's very well versed on common law, any system of law that's based off common law. The guy knows his stuff, and we've had him on the show. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a real good guy.
Yeah.
So but that's the thing. So AI, I think, and that's the problem you run with AI. To think in general, I just think it's a 50-50 thing. Some are going to love you for it, some are going to hate you for it. It's a no-win situation.
Well, when you have people that suggest to you, you should be using Mid-Journey, there's my issue in that, like you said, I know Photoshop, at least in the agreement that I have with Photoshop, because I pay for the software, there's in the contract that I have with them, it says their stuff is ethically sourced.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what it is that when you have a contract with Adobe, anything that you're creating with it, by default, you've given them a license to use. So Adobe is using the work of anybody who's used Adobe to fund their AI, and realistically, you've opted in. When you sign that contract that nobody reads, you've opted in. The thing with Midjourney and others is that they're scraping the internet, and it's not even that like, hey, no, you signed this. It's like, no, we just sent our bots out to scrape away.
Right. And my problem is that with Midjourney, if I use Midjourney just for something small and somebody comes back and says, hey, you use Midjourney, we're going after you, they can.
Right.
But if they go after me for Adobe, I have a contract with Adobe that says, hey,
but be careful of Adobe on one thing. When you take a look at, like, you pull up all the images of Adobe, what you have to be careful of is Adobe they can basically put licenses within each image. Whether the image is commercially usable or not. So be very careful of that. Adobe does that once in a great while with some of their imagery. They'll say like not for commercial use, and so they play games themselves.
But in their AI, it is specifically because of the type of license that I have with them, I can use it.
Okay.
So there was a specific package that I had to buy to be able to do that.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well, here's my position, because I have friends who are artists who hate the idea of AI. They're against it. So I'm like, dude, I'm with you. I'm standing with you, shoulder to shoulder. And so yeah, and I promote them. Dawn, a number of times I've sent you a name and said, hey, this guy's a pretty good artist. He does fantasy, sci-fi. You should take a look at him, maybe chit chat with him, and I'll send you a link. And but you're not, here's the thing is that you're creating new Star Frontiers content. You're giving it away. I get that some people make the decision to use AI, and it's kind of like, look, I'm voting for a libertarian, and you might be voting for a Republican, and, Don and Eric might be voting for a Democrat. I'm still friends with you all. Don't care. It's okay. It's your freedom of choice.
Right.
I can't dictate to you what it is. I made a decision for myself.
Yeah, you stand by your decision. That's the important thing that you do. You make your decision. It's your company.
A couple pieces of AI leaked into the magazine. And then when I made my decision, I said, we're going to call a mulligan on those, but no more. And, and so I've made that very plain. But the amazing thing is that I've, got Aaron O'Brien, Alan Taylor, Jerry Boucher over in England, or actually I think he lives in Finland or Sweden. He lives in but he's British. And, they've just kept me so well stocked. I go to them, say, hey, would you mind doing up a little thing? And they just bang out a picture. And I'm like, it's like, I've been so inundated with art. I'm like, I'm really in a good place. Oh, and I forgot Scott Mulder. Scott Mulder, Don, over in Arizona. He goes by the handle AZ Gamer. Star Frontiers fan as the day is long. But he did a lot of like Photoshop with digital models, and so you position them in different ways with different backgrounds. He did a lot of that stuff for us. But he also is very capable at grabbing a pencil and drawing a picture for you.
He does really good black and white line art that has a really good old school feel for it. I bet you he'd be excellent for Star Frontiers reboot.
Well, I sent him a deck plan. I said, hey, could you draw me the ship? A couple of days later, just like that. And it was beautiful. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the ship that matches this deck plan, which is not easy to do the 3D stuff in your head. And then, boom, there it is. And, well, I mean,
the interesting thing that I thought about when I started getting the complaints was people would say, well, I like what you have going on and I like the idea of the story, but I hate the art. And my thought process was, well, do you want the story? Do you want the module? Or do you want me to go in and change all of the art? It's like...
And be careful of that, too.
And because I'm not changing the story.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be the trolls out there who
absolutely
take the pot shot.
And
there's always a troll under the bridge.
I think the problem is the internet has given license to people to say, you're not doing it the way I would do it my way.
Oh,
and they'll tell you what you're doing wrong, but they won't give you a solution.
Well, I'll tell you what.
The thing is, go ahead.
That's bullshit.
I agree.
Unless it's loading the dishwasher. In that case, you better friggin' load it the way I say.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a spousal argument that you want.
The good wife's over there going, amen.
Gentlemen, I got to run over to my Discord.
Yep, Eric, thanks.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
It's good to meet you all.
Love you too.
All right. Later.
Next week, Eric. Eric has to go. What he does every week is he goes ahead and he has a 9:00 Discord kind of thing. So Thursdays he comes on for an hour of it, and then me and Tom waste the rest of the time.
Okay.
But I think just all boils down to one thing. You're not going to make everybody happy with everything you do. I mean,
that's true.
I've experienced that. What you have to do is you have to look at your product and go, you know what? Am I happy with that? Is my people in my company happy with it? This is our product. I know I'm going to have negativity attacked to it because, like Tom said, there's always people out there that want to, they want to go ahead and they want to degenerate the work because they just want to go ahead and they want to feel good about themselves.
Right. Yeah. So even though I'm against AI, I'm going to totally promote you and say, hey, this guy's doing it. Obviously, he's using AI. Whatever. It's your choice. He's got a good product. He loves Star Frontiers. I like anybody who loves Star Frontiers.
There you go.
Unless their initials are JL.
Okay.
But
JL. DJ, MY.
Yeah, because
Well-
those guys don't love Star Frontiers, but you know, look, I like what you're doing. I like that you're talking about new miniatures. Holy crap! I'm excited about that.
The thing for this module, it started with something small, a small idea that, you know, an espionage kind of thing. And I thought, you know what, espionage has been done to death. Well, this needs to be bigger. And when it got a little bigger, we started talking about it. And then it got bigger, and then it got bigger, and then it got bigger. And then it got so big, we just decided, you know what? We're just gonna put this all together and see what happens. And 65 pages later, it became just this gigantic thing that this is a serious adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted, like I was telling you, Tom, we wanted the running clock. We wanted things happening simultaneously where characters are scatterbrained because they need to be thinking, but there's no time to think.
Mm-hmm.
And the GM needs to be running it just like that. Like, this is coming down the hall. This is going to explode. This is what you've got, you know, right now on the computer in front of you. What are you going to do?
Yes, because what fascinates me, and I'd like to talk about for a few minutes about one thing you mentioned earlier is this world that you created, where people can actually go in and they can, for lack of a better word, file a claim on a plot and create content. Now, is that going to be a separate website with the world intact where you can click on areas and go into it?
Yes.
So what would it take to file a claim? So what if two Wahoos show up in email saying, I want X and Y? And the other
if I drop something to you right now, can you get it?
Yeah. I'll post it below. Is it free to post below, or?
Of course it is.
Okay.
All right. Send it to Don, not to me.
Okay, 1 second here. Yeah, the great thing about the land of Barsalis, let me see if I can find the Barsalis map here. There it is.
And while you're bringing that up, let me just ask the obvious question. What is to prevent somebody with a bot from just getting all the claims?
They have to be approved, and we have to we approve each and every one of the claims. So you have to send us an email, then we verify it.
Okay, so it's not like a wiki where I can just go in, file, pull an account up, and grab my claim. Yeah, that's
right.
Smart to do.
Okay, I just sent you the map of Barsalis.
Okay, let me go ahead and...
Please do share that.
I am going to be sharing that. All right, let's do this.
And thank you, Matthew, for saying the room I am in is awesome. This is my everyday office.
Y'all are getting a little piece of my little workstation. Terrain pieces, miniatures.
Next to me is the Voltron car force.
Oh, this is like Civilization when you do the spider continents.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Ooh, another Civilization player. You can only say that if you're really a Civilization player.
So basically, if I understand this right, I would come to you and I'd say, I want a part of Agartha.
Right.
And then you would basically give me my info to be able to start developing and doing.
Right.
Yeah, what is it you want to do? And then yay, nay.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, right now, I am running a campaign. If you scan down there, you'll see the island of Tearbrook. It's really small. It's right between that desert area and Darkmoor.
Tearbrook?
That's it, Tearbrook.
Oh, there we go.
And for those of you that don't know, Tearbrook is from Terry Brook.
Oh, shit. That is a great Easter egg. That is a great Easter. Magic Kingdom for sale sold.
Yes.
Yep.
Or
love
the sword of Shannara.
So this map is going to be eventually online, correct?
It is online right now.
Okay. Are you going to have this eventually divided up into little sectors?
It is. Let me see if I can find one with the squares.
Because this just fascinates me, because this reminds me of something that happened in about 2000. There was a gamer vlog called Goblins Games, and there was a group project called Calibor, and it was basically via chat, and everybody would throw in things under areas of the chat like monsters and cities and such, with the idea of building this world. And I find interesting is the element of being able to see it. Let me go pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I just sent it to you with the numbers.
Gotcha. I'm doing it now.
There was a community project that kind of started out of starfrontiers.us. And it was this thing where people could just write in and kind of fill in a little piece of a thing. And so it was this community project to kind of like revamp Star Frontiers. And so, but the problem was you had some people who were going dark noir,
right,
future, and others were going much brighter, shiny cassette tape sci-fi. And so it wasn't working well. But then you also had a guy who was quasi in charge, got himself promoted to being in charge, took over the whole thing and said, you know what, I bet we can make a product. And so he killed the project and then started a project to create a rule set. And there was a lot of hard feelings from that. And I was friends with the guy, but I hadn't contributed to the thing. But a lot of people came to me and were like, "Oh yeah," they were pissed and mad. But everybody was contributing their own little things, and so you could just take or leave something if you didn't like it.
Right.
It was easy enough. You just ignore it.
Yes. Right. So speaking of that, are you going to allow autonomy in the creation, or are you going to have to follow a theme?
There is no theme that you have to follow. The only thing that you have to know is that the land has its name, but it's open to whatever you want to create within your cube.
Now, why is Zakur down below not cubed?
Now you'll notice that Terbrooke and Zakor are neither one cubed.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you go ahead and say it to everybody.
It's because those have been already mapped. We have created those.
Gotcha. I figured that's what it was. Smart.
Yeah, so you're leveraging the creative juices of a lot of other creators.
Right. And what we hope is that when people come in there, see, I think I sent you the cover of the AC0 Monsters book.
Let me see. I think you did. Hold on a second. Go ahead and grab it.
If you don't have it, I think I have it.
Oh,
yeah.
There it is.
Now, one of the things that we did within the Barsalis Monsters, this is volume 1. These are all brand new monsters. There are also 3 brand new playable races in there.
Okay.
And one of the things that we wanted to do was allow the races to be very unique, so that as part of this, we've got, 4 new races, because we keep coming up with new ones. There are...
it's like Lay's potato chips, Kip. You just can't make one. You got to keep making them. Trust me. I know the feeling.
We've got so many different unique monsters. Let me pull one up here and I'll drop it on there, because it's when we created these, we decided that we wanted unique.
Mm-hmm.
And let me throw him over here.
Sure.
Okay, you should have him there. These are a playable race, and they're called the Vangean Dwarves. They are a desert dwarf. They live in Zakor.
Gotcha.
The
Now,
blue stone,
talk about this guy. What makes this dwarf race unique?
they have learned to harness the power of the sand and create what's called arcanite crystal.
Gotcha.
And that their arcanite crystal is harder than steel. So they make their maces out of arcanite crystal. And what you see there is him carrying an arcanite warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own brand of kind of like a sand magic.
Oh, cool.
And, you know, those are just a few of the oddball things that we like to, you know. Also in Barsalis, there are no dragons. We have, well, okay, I take that back. There's one kind of dragon, but we have what's called Caranovas. And I just dropped one of those over.
That's bigger glass, like bigger glass. Yeah. Are you done? Oh,
He's dropping art over. We're
sorry.
I have women folk in the room.
Because of the oceans, we don't have the kind of things that, you know, most of the you would see in Dungeons and Dragons. These are all unique.
These almost like are these like worms?
Kind of, but you know, we also don't have elementals. We have what are called scraels,
Gotcha.
and scraels are made from wild magic. When there is a buildup of wild magic, a scrael is created.
Mm-hmm.
And they're based on whatever the kind of wild magic was that was created.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a water magic, if it's an earth magic, it's, you know, so Barsalis is a very unique kind of land. And so, but let me show you this guy. This is one of our one of our new races that you can play. They are only paladins. They're called Ruxmills.
So this, let me pull it up here. Sorry.
Oh, it was the cat creature, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, let's come on. It is not wanting to come over. Just one. Sorry about this. There it goes. Let me real quickly. There we go. So this is one of the races, correct?
Right. And this was based on my daughter's cat that passed away.
Oh.
And when we actually have a giant poster of this, and it is, we created the race of Ruxmills that are only paladins. They are 3 feet tall, but that's what they look like. And the Ruxmills are all white. And if they happen to be any other color that white, other than white, if they are brown, if they are tan, if they come out any other color, they are automatically a ranger.
Gotcha.
I thought you were going to say they were evil.
No. They because of the type of race, they become a ranger.
It kind of has vibes of Reepicheep from Narnia.
Narnia, yeah.
If you remember the little mouse,
right?
Yeah, he lost his tail, and Aslan gave it back to him, and it kind of has that vibe.
Well, with this, we just wanted to create so many new creatures, so many new opportunities, and we wanted people to just be able to dive in and use their imagination to come up with something new. It's just like Legos. when you have a box of Lego, you either have instructions on how to do something, or you just say, I'm building whatever I can come up with. And that was what Barsalis was meant to be. Come up with whatever you want, and that's your land.
Mm-hmm.
So we are just giving you a few things that you can sprinkle your land with that are different than what is normal in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
So that
there's no harm in that. I mean, being different is actually a good thing.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the standard races of goblins and orcs are kind of overused, and if you're going to use them in the classical sense.
Right. I agree.
And this sounds.
I like my pig-faced orcs, so screw you.
But see, what makes this interesting to me is what you're doing is you're creating a world that is theoretically Star Frontiers based,
right?
But has fantasy elements thrown into it, and you're giving kind of like an open license to people to say, listen, if you want to create a strict fantasy, kingdom that's 100% fantasy, they don't know what starships are, you could do that. Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, Barsalis is strictly for D&D. The new Star Frontiers land, that's coming.
Okay, so
we have an entire Star Frontiers land that's coming. We haven't finished laying that out yet.
Gotcha.
That is an entire new star system, a whole new set of bad guys. Again, when we do that, it'll be,
Oink.
The game could be changed to Borderlands completely. So, you just never know.
Well, what you're doing is you're basically you're framing in the ability to create fantasy-based games also.
Right.
So you're not pigeonholing yourself into Star Frontiers.
Right.
Tom's on his way to probably get some good scotch, or excuse me, not scotch. He doesn't drink scotch. He drinks what do you call it? I'm not a whiskey drinker.
No, I'm not getting whiskey. If I got anything, it would be bourbon. We actually
bourbon. See.
Upside down. So this is a map done by Tom Stevens. Tom Stevens is he is a legend in the Star Frontiers community because he edited a handful of magazines in the original run of the Star Frontiersman. Tom is a NASA consultant on the Fermi Space Telescope. He's now become a research librarian at a university out in Utah somewhere. And he did this map. It's got a DM version and a player version. I've actually taken both. I paid for copies and laminated them. And so it incorporates the Star Frontier setting, but you can see it's really a huge setting beyond that. With these are all like Sathar controlled systems all around the core of the Star Frontiers. And then you've got the Great Rift down along the bottom where it's kind of tough to jump to other star systems. And that's kind of been something written into the setting, quasi from official canon maps, but players have taken things and run with it a little bit.
Right.
So I would put a little bug in your ear to be like, hey, check out his maps. It's
right.
And you can get a beautiful, he produces beautiful color versions like this at a price that he cannot possibly be making money. And he also does a black and white version that's, so if you prefer something a little less busy, I went for full color and I said, whatever. It's only money and it's not a lot of money anyways.
So there you go.
I will find those links for you and I will send them to you. But so he did this whole expanded thing and a couple of times I've been like, oh, it started juices going. It got me writing things, just looking at the map going, you know what? Here's I could do a whole campaign on this whole edge of an assault scout sent to scout this region, and they're encountering the Sathar, and then this is what's happening, and so I had all these juices going, and it's a great map that he's done. And I talked to Dawn about doing, if we did another thing, we would do like a wormhole link, but it'd be
right
beyond what Tom did, and I would just make it like we honor what Tom did, because he has been such a huge supporter of Star Frontiers through the magazines, through taking over certain sites and then hosting them on his server in his home. That's
Real quick,
on his part.
do you have a link to the map online that people can go to?
Sure.
Send it over to me, and I'll go ahead and I'll put it across the bottom here.
Let
You
me
guys
pull
in the
that
chat,
up.
I'll look.
I do not have the squares up, but people can look at the map.
Okay.
We do have all of the monsters and the playable races there as well.
All right, I think I got a link for you.
Oh, he already sent me one, Tom.
Somebody already sent you one?
Yeah.
All right.
That link is going across the bottom of the screen right now for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's his map, AC0.
Yes.
I'll send you a link another time. We can put it in the show notes for
Do you
Star.
want?
For
Oh,
Star
you want?
stuff.
Oh, yeah. By all means, if you want me to put that up, we can put that up too.
Sure. Because I'm close. Oops, so I can't be reached. You know,
Drop me the link, and I can put them both in.
Yeah, I'd love to have that, Tom, if you can send that to me.
oh, come on. You know what's funny is the past couple of days, Star Frontier sites that he has been hosting, keeping them alive, have been down. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I saw a note about that. I remember you saying something about it, and then somebody posted about it.
Oh, my goodness. So I probably got to send Tom an email and be like, hey, dude, what's going on? Just, because I don't want to send people to his sites that he's been keeping alive.
Gotcha.
If like he's like, dude, I went through a fire, my family were displaced, it's that kind of story.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to put a burden on the guy.
Right.
He's been supporting Star Frontiers for decades. And and we produced the Frontier Explorer through 35, 36 magazines together. I just love the guy. I think he's a great asset to the fan community. He just had family issues and new job at a university. He had to back away from the Star Frontiers community.
He was a little preoccupied.
Yeah, and hey, family comes first, honestly.
Yep.
Right.
So, Kip, anything else in the hopper you want to talk about before we kind of close up?
Oh, let's see. I think that's enough to keep me busy. So,
well, real quick before we go, you said you were involved. You were a producer or a director of movies?
I've been an editor, a producer, a director, a special effects guy, a prop man. I've worked in motion picture for almost 30 years.
Nice.
And so
the good wife's over there going, he's my people.
Tom's wife is heavy in theater.
Yeah, I've worked on Amistad with Steven Spielberg. I worked on Alien versus Predator.
Oh, cool.
So
I might have seen that movie.
I've done VH1 Behind the Music. I've done a bunch. But
those things are not in your IMDb database, honestly.
You know what? When I've worked for companies, the problem is you work for the company gets the credit. Or the master. Like I worked for a company called Zona Productions. And when I worked for VH1 doing Behind the Music, I worked for Zona Productions. Mm-hmm. Zona Productions did all the motion control work. We did all of the minor editing and all the album covers that you see spin in, all the camera
but
control.
They don't get credit, do they?
VH1 gets the credit. So, a lot of those things that show up, the big companies get the credit. We don't get the credit.
So any little awards you get from the company, you probably have to save those just to validate yourself,
Oh, we get a scratch on the head and say, nice job. And then we get to sit in traffic for 4 hours.
And then what the hell have you done for me lately?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well, we little people.
I lived in Murrieta, California, which is halfway between San Diego and Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Why did I live there? Because if I had to work in San Diego, because I used to work on, I don't know if you remember the show, Silk Stockings.
Oh yeah, that's a long time. Quite a. No,
Yeah.
That's you're talking 80s.
Right. Well,
Was
into
it?
the 90s. And
Okay.
I worked on that show and Renegade. You remember the show Renegade?
Yes.
Not Renegade, but I remember Silk Stockings.
Okay, worked on those. Then I would also work on shows in Los Angeles. So I would have to sit in traffic 4 hours either way because of morning traffic. You would leave at 4 a.m. to get there by 8, where people would not know their name until 2 p.m, where they would drag their butts in and need to have coffee. So you would finally have your meeting at 4 p.m. And after that hour, they would go, you know what? Let's put it off until tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Isn't
you have to sit in
talent a
traffic
bitch?
9, getting back home.
So you had another 4 hours going home.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, my college roommate actually moved to San Diego, and so he's told me stories like that.
Yeah, traffic is, when you hear people say traffic is bad in Los Angeles or traffic is bad in San Diego, you have no idea until you actually live it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one, 91 freeway, which goes through Corona and down through San Bernardino. And okay, one day before Thanksgiving, I was going to see my dad who lives in San Bernardino. I left at the beginning of the 91. This is the day before Thanksgiving. 91, it took me 8.5 hours on that freeway to get from the beginning of that freeway. In a normal day, that would take me 2 hours at most. It took me 8.5 hours.
Wow.
Because of traffic.
Wow. That is insane. And
Yep, I'll leave that for you.
California.
I'll pass.
Yeah.
Yep.
And thank goodness there are places to stop and go to the bathroom.
Yep.
I was
And books on.
You create a mental map of where all the porta potties are.
Oh yeah, and audiobooks are your friend.
Porta potties.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Kip, we like to keep these little videos right around 1 hour. We've been about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I think we got started pretty late too.
Not a problem. That was totally my fault.
No, you're fine. No, you know what? I was wondering if it was this because Restream is new. I was on StreamYard and I just switched to Restream, so this is gonna be a learning curve for a couple of videos.
Yeah.
Getting kind of used to it's a little bit different, much of a layout. I actually like it better, but it's a little bit different.
Well, once I got in.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you coming on, and like I said,
time.
Drop me your email and I'll send you an email tonight or tomorrow with a whole bunch of information in it on different artists and a couple different mini producers and things like that to help you out.
I would love that. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, appreciate the talk and talking Star Frontiers and licensing and all that good stuff. And by all means, share your links in game groups when you get them up fully, like where people can actually register for sections of the world, because I think that's going to be really popular.
I will do that.
It's cool. It's just cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Okay, great.
So Kip, we appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. Try to have yourself a good night, and
you too.
We'll be back on later.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And
have a good one.
Yep.
Nice talking with you again.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk with you soon.
All right.
Okay.
And everybody.
Bye.
We can see you later. And everyone else, this is the vlog of many things. I am Dom. I am Don.
And we have Kip.
And we appreciate everybody in the chat. And we will go ahead and we'll be back next Thursday with don't know. Who knows what? We'll figure it out.
I may or may not be back. I still got a class to do.
Yes, Tom's being educational.
Yeah.
So he has to do that. So we will talk to everybody